The March 14th, 2023 work session of the Montgomery County Board of Education will come to order. Again, good evening and thank you for joining us here this evening. Please remember to mute all electronic devices. A majority of voting members present shall constitute a quorum for a meeting of the Board of Education. We do know that there's an accident on the highway. One of our board members is caught in that traffic. There are 6 members present. I declare a quorum is present. The agenda was posted earlier for our review. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda by unanimous consent. That is without a voice vote, roll call, or hand raising. The question before the board, is there objection to adopting our agenda before the agenda before you? Is there objection? Hearing no objections, the agenda is adopted. We have a number of items that we will receive updates on as information only. We will take those in the order that they are printed on the agenda. The first item is the Volkert update by Mr. Glenn Slater. Mr. Slater.
Thank you, Madam President, board members, Superintendent Brown. Here's our monthly update. We've got our highlight project this month will be for the Carver Elementary Gymnasium addition. Architect is JMR+H out of Montgomery, and as you see here, we've got the existing aerial view of the campus. The gymnasium will be going toward where you see the driveway that looks kind of like a P there to the right of the campus. Next slide, please. Here it is on a diagram with the peach color or yellow is the new gymnasium out with the connector from the existing school. The gym is close to where the existing auditorium is. The driveway will have to be reworked a little bit to the right there with the turnaround in the back behind it to operate the same way it is right now. Okay, next slide. We've got again, it's got an enclosed secure connector from the existing school to the gymnasium. We've got about a 13,000 square foot addition, give or take, and that's what's happened. That's what we're doing at each of the elementary school gymnasiums. This gym will be, other than it matching the school, will be somewhat identical to the gymnasiums of the other schools. So it'll be the same amenities of each one. The motorized bleachers will be coming in and out. The little typo there is actually, I think, 320 seating capacity instead of 600. We've got a raised platform at one end of the gymnasium to act as a stage for school programs. And then the basketball goals will be motorized to fold up out of the way, where we play volleyball or Newcomb on the same court as the volleyball. The goals will also not just fold up out of the way, they will actually go up, straight up and down to get it to where they can, the younger kids can shoot at a 8-foot goal instead of having to go all the way up to a 10-foot goal. The PE office, storage areas within the gymnasium and restrooms accordingly to meet code requirements. We got a new bus loop and a canopy for the children to come back down to. Okay. Next slide. Here's the overall floor plan. At the top of the page there is the connector going into the existing school, and the stage area on the bigger box, along with the court, as you see there. The court's a 74-foot, 50-foot court, which is what Alabama High School Association calls for a junior high or middle school court. And then the restroom and lobby areas to the front of the school. You'll be able to utilize the school and lock it off to where the connector corridor going into the school can be closed off after hours in case there's an after hours event there. It'll be secured from the rest of the school. Next slide. Here's the front view rendering of the school. As you've noticed, it looks very similar to the school at Carver. And the slide name, it says Ninth Grade Academy, but it's actually Carver Elementary. Next slide, please. The documents are approved for the to bid right now. We're got the pre-qualifications. We had a pre-bid last week on it, along with Carver Ninth Grade Academy at the same time, or a couple hours in between them there. And we're planning to open bids here on April 4th, and pending favorable results, recommending for board approval at the next board meeting. Next slide. This is our monthly MBE DBE reporting on it. There's not a whole lot of change. Next month we'll bump it up on to construction services will show up here, not just professional services. Right now we're showing total at 21.2 on professional services overall fee, and of that 10.8 million is for minority participation, which shows at 51%. I'd like to go ahead and also make note in the next month, within the next month, we've got the Carver Elementary, or not Carver Elementary, but the Carver High School Ninth Grade Academy and Fieldhouse will bid on the 30th of March. And then the elementary school will be on the 4th of April. Macmillan Elementary School, which we showed you a few months back, will be bidding on the 13th of April. And the new JAG Fieldhouse will bid out the end of May. And Blunt and Halcyon Gymnasium additions will bid closer to the end of April. That concludes my update.
Thank you, Mr. Slater. Are there questions for Mr. Slater?
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is regarding vehicle purchases for the Transportation Department. Mr. Brian Thornton.
Like I said, good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Chair, Dr. Brown, and all the constituents. We currently in transportation, we have a great fleet of buses. We still have 179 of the 2018s that we purchased. And we are about to receive 27 more buses, 25 of which will be special needs 2023s to replace some of the 2011s that we have. So our bus fleet is great. Our problem exists with our fleet of vehicles for the employees there. And we have 6 vehicles that we need to purchase. We need a new wrecker to tow buses with. The wrecker we currently have is a 1985. We need a new tire truck. Compressor doesn't work on it, and other problems with it. It's a 1990. And we have 2 Ford pickups, 2006 and 2007. Transmission is slipping in one of them. And we have a F-150 Ford Ranger, that's a 2004, and it is in terrible condition as well. The truck that I was currently driving a year ago, I hadn't had a vehicle in a year. It was a 2017 Ford Explorer, but lightning hit it on the lot one Friday night. We didn't know what was wrong. It wouldn't start. We took it to the Ford place. They found out that the computer was fried. It was $5,000 for them to tell us that. And there'll be another $9,000, they say, to put a new computer in it. And no guarantee that that's going to be sufficient. So we're looking at purchasing these vehicles for the transportation department for the fleet there.
Thank you. Are there questions of Mr. Thornton?
So would you say those vehicles again? I know, I hear a F-1, how many what are we doing?
We got a wrecker.
A wrecker.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need a wrecker.
Wrecker. We need a tire trucks. to go
Tire
out
truck.
And change tires on the buses. We got one truck for the state, for the shop foreman. That truck is a 24/7 truck. The director's truck, and there are two trucks that are for the actual mechanics.
So 5 and all.
Actually, six.
6?
Madam President, may I just add that, the funding source for these will come from the state transportation fund. However, we also had over $2 million in carryover, state transportation carryover funds. Those funds are there.
Okay, thank you for that information. And the one that was hit by lightning, struck by lightning, was that vehicle insured?
Well, all of our vehicles, we purchase primarily cash, so there's liability on every vehicle that we have. But there's not full coverage on every vehicle that we have.
Okay.
Are we
With
leasing
ATVE.
these vehicles or outright purchasing them? Are we leasing or purchasing?
No, these are purchased. The ones that are currently there were purchased.
This 2023 will have full coverage, correct? That we.
Yes, it
okay.
will.
Are there other questions of Mr. Thornton?
Just a
Okay.
comment, I'm shocked we didn't have full coverage. You know, just kinda shocked.
And I received it when I got here, and I understood that it was paid cash for, and that was just the liability.
And the state transportation funds do 100%, or do we have to match?
State company, we do not have to match. The only problem is that, the state plans to, or want to provide funding 100% for transportation. Right now, I think it stands at around 79 or 80%.
I was thinking 80%.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, hopefully the legislature will fully fund it this year now with the surplus they have, so that's what we're hoping.
And that's all transportation, not just the school buses, but.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is regarding textbook adoptions for career technical education. Mr. Todd Davis? No? Okay, thank you, sir.
What we doing?
Mr. Todd Davis cannot be here tonight, so I will present that. Good evening, Board Chair, Board members, Dr. Brown. We just presented and received as information the CTE Textbook Adoption Committee. If approved tonight, we will meet again with the committee to bring back next month textbooks for adoption or consideration. Are there any questions?
Will we be able to look at these textbooks?
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the parents, have we reached out to any parents who may have a vested interest in impact? Because I know these are employees.
The last two parents are not employees per se. They have invested interest, so number 14 and 15 on your list. And they communicate they really want to be on the committee to support that.
Okay, 14 is an employee.
Okay. But they
Crystal
also-
Joyner
yes,
is.
ma'am. Okay.
I'm not sure about Yates, but I know that there are students that have parents that have small businesses, may have a vested interest, and I'm just thinking down the line as our career tech grows, we may really want some parents that are invested, and we told them we would make them partners, so it would be a good idea to think about that.
Indeed. Yes,
And
ma'am.
I agree with you, Ms. Portis, it needs to be non-employee parents. And also, I'd like to see some of the high school students that are in career tech be on it, for them to see what we do and the civics part of it, that they are invested in it.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there additional questions of Mr. Mitchell? Okay, hearing none. The next item on the agenda, a couple of items, will pertain to internet access and cybersecurity agreements. Ms. Tony Patterson?
Madam President, Members of the board, Dr. Brown, we would like to move our WAN and internet access contract to Alabama Supercomputer. Alabama Supercomputer is the lead for the state E-rate consortium. This simply means that we will receive our state contract, we will receive state contract pricing for our internet and WAN services. And it gives us better buying power, as you know, and it will allow us to take advantage of any free resources that come along with those contracts.
Okay.
And this is the first time we've considered using the Alabama supercomputer, which has been in effect since 1980s.
I think it's been considered in the past, but because of the pricing, we were able to get better pricing by bidding it out.
Okay.
So I think that's why we didn't take advantage of it in the past.
Thank you. Are there additional questions? Hearing none, we will move to the cybersecurity protection agreement.
As you are well aware, our cyber attacks over the last few years in K-12 have been on the rise. This contract will provide us 24/7 monitoring of our network to identify and help us to remediate any attacks in our environment. It'll help us catch them in their infancy stage and minimize the impact that they may have in our environment. This contract will be a 3-year contract. We'll pay for it using our cybersecurity grant that we have to apply for every year. And the cost of that grant, the amount of that grant is $67,500, so it covers every year. So we've applied for it already and been approved this year. We'll apply in subsequent years. Any questions?
Are there questions of Ms. Patterson regarding cybersecurity?
You said you had 66 in the grant.
The grant for this year was $67,500.
Okay. Thank you.
Additional questions? Thank you, Ms. Patterson.
Thank you.
The next items on the agenda will be regarding our facilities, various updates, renovations, and upgrades. Mr. Chad Anderson, we will take those one at a time and entertain questions after.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Dr. Brown, President Coleman, and Vice President Brown, members of the board. If you'll look at your spreadsheet with me for the updates for the current projects, we've got the central office consolidation project. We need to really start naming that the Leadership Center project. That's where that's moving towards. Moving well on the 3-story building. Again, sent progress photos. They've made more progress. They worked over the weekend, putting in drop ceiling and finishing the flooring in 3rd coats on the 2nd and 3rd floors. This week, they're trying to wrap up that bottom floor with a 3rd coat of paint and also the flooring and drop ceiling as well. Once that part of that kind of starts to wrap up, they're going to move that project trailer off and get the site there ready to prep for paving. So we want to pave that side and get it taken care of. On the east side of the property where the existing building burned, where fuse will be going, they're starting drywall in that facility this week. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, MEP is starting to wrap up with a good majority of that. So most of your units are set, your ductwork is set, and your pipes are insulated with those things. So elevator shaft is set. Those are the two kind of big things in that 3-story building, and the 2-story building is the modification to the existing elevator that's in the 3-story building and the addition of the elevator on the other side. Those are also delayed items at this point. The BTW red light bid, that's of course underway. Items have been ordered. There is delay in the poles. The light part of that is not as much delayed. We're trying to work with the city and see about some temporary poles so that we can make sure we have that up for the first day of school. We'll also have a contingency plan if we're delayed on any of that to make sure that we control traffic for letting in and letting out of school over there at BTW. We're also working with the Brubaker complex to make sure we time that correctly so that we don't create a major traffic issue over there. So we've been in talking with the transportation, with the administration from all those parties to try to make it as seamless as possible. The construction at BTW, if you've been by there this week, the site is going well. They're moving a lot of dirt on that south end, and they're continuing with the finishes on the inside on the performing arts and black box area. Kitchen is wrapping up on some of their finishes. They're setting equipment in there, and they're working in the existing building, which is the core curriculum area. They're working on those finishes and getting those things taken care of. So it is moving along well as also. The Goodwin HVAC project, placed a few photos in your weekly update to give you kind of an example of that. They're in the courtyard area, so you don't see it from the street right now, but working on this first phase. It's going along well. Was there this morning putting some paint samples on the columns that we'll be painting as well this summer, but adding those in. They were welding up the braces for the units to be set. The windows are going in, and they look great. We'll continue to work on that to bring it up to date as well. The Brewtech HVAC is tracking a little bit ahead of schedule, going well over there. It's been good working with the administration there. Both administrations at Goodwin and Brewtech have just been a blessing to work with. Contractors have done a good job with things, and just continue to make progress there with that. The logistics roof and renovation is starting to wrap up. We'll have to do some metal work on the top of the roof and get a final inspection on that. The above ceiling went well. On the build out inside, there's some finishes, flooring, finished coats of paint, control access that have to go in there, but that's going well. They're setting the fixtures in the bathroom area that was updated with that as well. Just, it's been much needed for a long time. If you ever got any photos or pictures or camera work from the old logistics, it looked like a waterfall inside with some of the roof drains not lining up. So we've been able to take care of that and create a much better secure space for our people to work in and work out of there at the logistics warehouse. All the roofs, McKee, MLK, Fitzpatrick, Vaughn Road, Wares Ferry, the maintenance shop, we've conducted all the pre-construction meetings there. They should begin within the next few weeks. They are working with administrations of those schools to make sure we don't conflict with the testing schedules that are going on. So we've been given our architect that handles our roofs, they have that schedule, the testing schedule, and then we've introduced the administrators to the contractors working on all those jobs so that they can work things out and make sure we're not interrupting the testing schedule. J.D. Danley roof replacement, again, continues to move. We're moving towards the front part of the existing building. If you have driven by there, you see a lot of the TPO wrapped over. Looks kind of like a pool liner, the TPO that goes over that, but they'll put metal over the top of that. That'll be a process with such a large building, and we're hoping to have Danley wrapped up before their testing commences with their part of their roof coming up here soon, weather permitting. And that's it on that portion of the update.
The regular facilities update, are there questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, let me make sure I won't be jumping ahead of what you may be presenting.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Oh, yeah, I'm not. So, and let me just say, I apologize, board members, I was boxed in and from traffic. I had to navigate my way through the city, so my apologies. And I missed Volker, which is probably where majority of my questions probably need to be directed. But I wanted to ask about LAMP. In a walkthrough that I did there was an area actually dedicated for classrooms when LAMP was built. And I went back through the facility assessment to see if anything was mentioned about that area, and it wasn't in that particular assessment report. But to my understanding, there can be roughly from 8 to 16 classrooms built, and I know that school has a capacity of about maybe 900 and something students. And when I spoke with the administrator, he was like, sure, I'd love to expand, but I was wondering if that could possibly be reassessed. I know that since it's just an assessment.
The three, if you're referring to the third floor,
Right.
we've looked at that, and that's a pretty major renovation when you consider mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, HVAC, and them being so under capacity. It's just really not something that I would recommend at this time to add more classrooms. Now, if they start filling up and their enrollment goes up, we'd love to add that out, and that's why it's there, to be able to add those things to it, so, yes, ma'am, I know exactly what area you're referring to.
Okay, well, that was just one of the things that, the principal just brought to my
Yes,
attention,
ma'am.
and he was saying that it was, I guess the lack of that not being done, and this was the story real quick, that the money was there, and then there was
That's-
some other projects that got done, so the money moved and got reallocated somewhere else, and that's why that stopped.
Yeah, that predated my.
It
my
predated my
so-
time too.
Yes,
But I
ma'am.
just wanted to bring that to your attention. I was thinking maybe that would help with them, increasing the enrollment, since he didn't seem opposed to that,
Yeah, they're under their capacity, probably
even as it stands.
200 to 300 kids, so
Okay.
they have room to grow with what they have now, and we would love to expand if we can continue to grow those areas and build them in. And that would not be a huge lift. It would be a lot of money, just considering the plumbing and electrical and the mechanical, your HVAC to add to it. It'd be a large amount of money, but as far as coordinating that and getting that set up, it wouldn't be like a big design, like trying to do a new Percy Julian or say, we could design something like that within, 3 to 6 months easily.
Okay, well, it looks like the electrical and plumbing was there. I'm not, I don't do construction work, but it just looked like it was there. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and let me just say, in that report, if it was plumbing missing, I'm serious, it was 5 sentences because I counted,
Yes, ma'am.
and nothing mentioned electrical or plumbing in that assessment. The other thing I wanted to bring up quickly was impact. And as a recommendation for impact, the only thing I saw was expanding culinary arts. So, and we don't have to talk about this now, but I would like to talk about this later, about what's the plans to expand some programs in impact so that our kids have numerous opportunities. I know there have been just some brush conversations, but like, what's the plan moving forward? And then last but not least, Fitzpatrick, that was on here. In the event that there should be a elementary gymnasium, which, by the way, District 7 has no gymnasiums in this particular phase 1. We're phase 2, if there's even going to be money left over. But the principal, she took me around the school and said, well, we have a gymnasium, and she just wanted to know, would that be torn down to construct a new one, or how would that look? But again, we're phase 2, which means we don't get the bond money. We're wherever the funds are gonna come from, but she was,
And I know we tried to spread that out, but I'm not. Okay. It is, Glenn said it is part of phase 1.
it is part of phase 1.
It should be, it's scheduled.
Can I get a copy of it? That's why I wanted to see. I didn't have it.
You should
I-
have it in the.
I don't.
Okay.
Not in the big book. I
I'll
checked in
I'll
there.
send you.
Thank you.
Send you one,
I checked there
or send
first.
it to Fitzpatrick. The gymnasium work is scheduled to start design, second quarter of '24.
So that is in phase 1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Did I understand you to say LAMP is 200 students?
Roughly somewhere between 200 to 300 under capacity.
And as Ms. Smith stated, we have had several conversations about expanding our magnet programs. And we are definitely looking forward to those conversations continuing.
And I stand corrected, it's about 475 under capacity, so. We don't wanna add until they
We
can
have
fill
room
up
to
those
grow.
areas
Right.
based on our numbers here, so give or take, we'll say 400 under capacity to give them some breathing room with that.
I have a question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
The old, BTW, which is now gonna be the new central office, and the other side, there is a under breezeway, I don't know what you call it, like where you.
Tunnel.
Tunnel walkway,
ma'am.
I've been in it several times. Are you bringing that up to where?
Oh, yes, ma'am, yeah, it's been scraped this, in the last 2 weeks, and
I have
they'll,
walked through there many times, and it's,
yeah, they're gonna paint that, relight it, We have cameras that are going in there, and then you'll have card access on the gates that are in there as well, so.
Thank
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question. I was kind of wishing Glenn would have stayed up there. I've had a couple people ask me about Lanier, and I know we voted on that, but I feel like I've quoted them wrong. The reason we closed it financially, wasn't it like 75 million?
Correct.
I am correct. Okay, good. All right, I just wanted to pat myself on the back. I
Yes,
remember.
Okay, thank you again. We can talk now about Brubaker.
Okay. We've got the contract for the Brubaker Intermediate HVAC renovation. Together, we have had that under design and have received the bids on that. The equipment has been ordered to try to reduce the lead times on that. This is ESSER funding will be there, but this will be for the renovation of the intermediate side of HVAC. Primary is under design as we speak, so.
Well, just so I can make sure I understood something clearly too. So Bruce Baker Intermediate, as the phasing goes on, they will have their separate gym.
Yes, we're
Amazing.
working on that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, I have a question. I have asked this and I'm gonna bring it up again. I know we're looking at leaving Wilson open for a year and then transitioning to Blunt. Has anyone taken the consideration of the 1,150 houses that are still coming up? And we're looking at possibly at least 2 children per household coming to that?
Yes, ma'am. Glenn, if you want to speak about the demographers.
Because I'm gonna be a little concerned if we have to come back and add on to Blunt as quickly as, say, in 2 years.
Yes, ma'am. The demographers, they took in consideration the future building permits and the plans that the city shared with them at that time. And I'm trying to, for the whole district. The enrollment for Blunt is estimated for the 25-26 school year at 306. The enrollment for the Wilson campus for 25-26 is 367.
And we think that having an elementary school, even at those numbers, being a 667 small children's school is the right thing to do, okay? Because we're talking about kindergarten through
Yes,
fifth
ma'am.
grade.
I mean, these were the scenarios that were laid out in different portions of it, and the scenario for the Wilson Blunt combination put it to where we were renovating the Wilson campus to house Baldwin instead of
Yes.
building a new Baldwin.
Yes.
Is utilizing that campus, the biggest part of that campus, for a small renovation.
I don't certainly mind a big mega high school, but I think it's not conducive to our young children to have a mega elementary school. But thank you, that's what I needed to see.
I have a question. In that case, if we had the high numbers, could we consider rezoning
We're
as a possibility to alleviate the numbers to ensure?
Yes, we're
that-
currently working on the rezoning project for the district with a vendor that works with our demographer as well. So we're looking at all of those things to try to make sure our numbers equate out. And then, there are factors into also with populations. The state wants you to be at 500 to have that assistant principal. If it's not at 500, then if you have one, we're paying for it. So there are things like that you want to consider as far as your numbers to make sure that you can pay for those units and put them in the classroom. I'd rather put extra units in the classroom than at an administrative level, which you need an assistant principal, those things as well.
Okay, well, if you have small schools, you don't really need an assistant principal. A principal's very well to be able to handle that. I'm just concerned about not the administration, but the children in that building feeling like they're in a small, they get lost, they get concerned, but that's okay. I've got my answer, thank you.
Okay. Are there other questions? Thank you. At this time, we'll talk about the Children's Center contract.
Yes, the Children's Center contract's in front of you. That is the minor renovations through the Volkert project for ADA upgrades and just a sprucing up of the campus there. If you visited Children's Center, it's something that's very outdated. Wanted to provide a good lift for those kids and bring our campus up to date there. But it's a small renovation. There were no bids received, so we were able to work around with a local contractor and then also bring in some of the MBE, DBE subcontractors that we met at our forum that we had for them. So that was a bonus with those things there as well. And it includes some ADA ramp access to the PE grounds, some improvements to the back canopy area and extension there so that the kids won't get wet getting in and out of the buses on rainy days, an addition of a commercial washer and dryer, some zero entry access into the courtyard there so that the students can get their wheelchairs in and out of the courtyard much easier, and then reflooring the entire interior hallways and also the classrooms.
Okay. Thank you. Are there questions regarding this contract? Thank you again, Mr. Anderson. The next items on the agenda will come from Mr. Arthur Watts, beginning with our January 2023 financial statement. Mr. Watts.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Brown. Should have before you the financial statement for the month of January of 2023, which represents the fourth month of the fiscal year, or 33% of the fiscal year. The information contained in the financial statement includes the financial explanation of financial data, which is a brief discussion that I present regarding the financial standings of the district. A snapshot analysis, which is a brief synopsis of our financial position, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Monthly budget percentages. Again, this is the fourth month of the fiscal year. Of course, 4 divided by 12 is 1/3, so it's the third of the fiscal year. Monthly and annual comparative statement of revenues, expenditures. It basically compares our month-to-date expenditures and our year-to-date expenditures against our prior year expenditures and revenues. A statement of cash flow, basically a statement listing our cash received and cash paid for the fiscal year. And of course, there's a pie chart of our cash inflows and cash outflows. A combined statement, combined financial statement, I should say, which includes a combined balance sheet, which speaks to our financial position, along with a combined statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance, which is basically an income statement. And then, of course, there's a definition of accounting terms. In section 2, the snapshot analysis, we would note that as of January of 2023, we see our revenues at about $103 million, expenditures at about $88 million, and of course, an ending fund balance of about $99 million. Of course, we also note that our expenditures as a percent of budget is about at 36%. As we stated earlier, 1/4 of the year represents 33%, 33 1/3%. Therefore, the expenditures are a little bit high as of January of 2023. The reason for that, Madam President, is that we decided to go ahead and set aside that $5 million, the capital, to go ahead and put those monies in that capital replacement account. As you know, the board approved for us to create a capital replacement account in an effort to have funds to do roof replacement, vehicle replacements, along with some of those other needs that we know will be upcoming at some point. We also went ahead and put about $2 million in our technology replacement account. So we removed monies from the general fund, put it in a technology replacement account, so that when we need to do things as it relates to technology infrastructure, we want to continue our one-to-one technology for our students, so we'll have those funds set aside. We also recommended that we continue to replenish those accounts each year based on funding. So we want to make sure that we have funds available every year, even after these ESSER funds are gone. Of course, if we did not move those funds over, our expenditures would have been at about 31.85%. But we want to go ahead and fund those accounts immediately. Our fund balance, as I stated, is about $99.1 million. Of course, this time last year, it was at about $85 million. Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Are there questions regarding our financial statements? Hearing none, we will move to the security salary schedule.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, we want to first thank the board again for approving the $3 increase for our security staff. Very much deserved. We also believe that it will help us with our hiring more security guards. Of course, you know that there's a shortage there, so we hope that that would take place. What this is just a new salary schedule with the $3 increase. The state does require that you create a salary schedule when there's a change in any type of rates, and so that's what this is. It's just the salary schedule that indicates the $3 increase from what was earlier approved by the board back in I think August, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. Are there questions? Are there questions? Hearing no questions, at this time we will look at the proposed position adjustments.
Where you going, Mr. Boyd?
Madam President, I didn't know that one was on there. I'm going to ask the superintendent if he doesn't mind, if he would kind of remove that one until the next month.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjust the agenda by removing item K?
I move to adjust the item for Mr. Watts.
And I second it.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded to remove item K from the agenda. All in favor, raise your hands. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a job description for Chief Technology Officer. Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam President. This will be a cabinet-level executive position reporting directly to the superintendent and would replace our current director of technology on the cabinet team. CTO will provide leadership, identifying, assessing, and managing technology needs for our school district while emphasizing the marriage of technology and teaching and learning. The CTO will direct, coordinate, supervise, facilitate, and perform all task elements needed to effect comprehensive integration and appropriate technology into every facet of district operations. The CTO will also contribute to the infusion of educational technology into classrooms, library media centers, and district offices by providing highly motivating full-time professional leadership in all areas of technology planning, technology resource management. This position will also allow us to attract talent and experiences from all over the country. We have this job description on for approval tonight.
Thank you. Are there questions of Dr. Brown?
Yes, on that one, I'd like to know the difference in the, because you said it would take the place of the current. What was the difference in the salaries of the current and the present? Who determines the present salary? And what is the major difference is what I'm looking for.
Major differences in the work would be, it'd be more focused on the instructional technology in classrooms and providing resources to teachers and schools. The salary difference is, I don't know the current salary off the top of my head, but the approved salary would be between 123,561 and 149,786 as approved as most of the senior level cabinet positions in the district, so it's equivalent to those.
Well, I'd like to know, if you'd send me or something like that, what the current is, because if we're dropping the current, it's just, I'd just like to know what's the difference in the salary from the current to the present.
Be happy to provide that to you.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a question, please.
Go ahead.
This chief technology officer, you said support the in-school, so he would be part of the hiring of the technology teachers in the school?
He or she would be part of that conversation, yes.
Additional questions?
Just, like I said, money-wise, I'm like, and where do we, because I looked at that salary, and I think it was between 129 and 149. And that, I'm just telling you that, I just feel like that should be discussed. Maybe it's because I'm the oldest member of the board, okay? And when we had a superintendent, when I started making, 158, that's what the superintendent was making. And now we're looking at we just have, now we tabled the seat, whatever, the CFO or whatever. We just keep, my concern is where's this, we get this money, we get this tax money, and if we're using it for central office figures, it's something that we need to be talking about.
Don't disagree. We're using that to be able to attract talent from across the country and to be competitive with our neighbors. So all these salaries have been made commensurate with our neighbors so we can attract talent. I will say salaries in the past would not attract folks for those particular positions now. I can guarantee you if the salary was put as it currently is, you wouldn't attract a district level chief technology officer.
Right. Well, that's why I want to know the difference in the price.
Sure.
Because, like I said, I'm not trying to argue with you
No,
or be
no argument.
disrespectful, but it's,
Not at all.
it's, I hear that same argument no matter what we're doing. Oh, we've got to attract talent. Well, I promise you, if Lisa Keith went out there and offered, a lot less than that, when you pay superintendents 158, and now we're bringing these new people on and we're paying, both of these new positions, you're looking at central office figures. And if you go back to Ed Richardson and stuff like that, we were top heavy in central office. And I just feel like we just keep adding a little, and, at some point, since we only meet once a month, and we can't talk about it during executive session, it's, I always look like the beast here, and I'm like, come on, man, at some point, we gotta tighten it up.
I'll repeat what my predecessor said in reference to size of central office. Dr. Moore would often talk about we being 3%. The state average is 6% at central office, so I would disagree that we're top heavy. However, everyone's entitled to their opinions.
You're right. Well, you heard mine.
I would like to ask, I would like you said it's competitive to other districts. Let me know, please help me understand what other districts pay this. Give me, here's what so-and-so, here's.
The 5 major districts in the state of Alabama, the largest 5.
But
We-
we can
we
also
do-
look at the academics and how this is happening. When we have 14 failing schools, I'm all for, you can keep adding and adding and adding, but we keep adding failing schools. We got a problem here.
I'll just say those failing schools were added prior to this administration, so I can't comment in that regard, but we've been brought here to actually build the district and move it in the direction it needs to go. So therefore, resource-wise, we need to also be commensurate with that.
Okay, and could I ask you, is that your answer to every question?
That is
Everything
my
is
answer to that
prior?
current question,
Okay.
yes.
So everything is prior. If no matter what happens, Dr. Brown, that happened prior to your administration. Is that your
No, so
robotic
if-
answer that you're going
No,
to give
if
us?
it happens in 2022 forward, I'll accept all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Colleagues, yes, thank you. Go ahead.
This person, this chief technology officer will be our specialist. That will be the person that, like you said, goes into the classroom. I'm a new teacher coming in. This is your cabinet member that we can depend on to be a specialist.
To be, yes, a
Okay.
specialist in education.
In this,
technology.
right,
Yes,
okay,
correct.
okay. So there lies the money, but also in the money in us reaching beyond our reach to get a good person. We are considering people that may be in our own backyard.
We are indeed.
And this is not to engage in debate, but when we look at the focus being on the student, I think that's a value-added descriptor. When we look at the fact that it is not just a new position, but it is replacing one, that's going to reduce that, what some of us initially thought was a $125,000 investment. It now will shrink that amount because it's replacing a position rather than starting from scratch. So there are some things to look at, and Superintendent Brown has said that he will provide for us the previous salary as well as deeper job descriptions will be made available. So
And can I get a deadline date? Because I seem to have asked for other things and have waited 4 months, and I'd just like to get a,
I have it to you by the first week of April.
sounds great.
thank you.
Can
Are
we
the-
stick an onboarding policy and procedure in that packet too?
Yes.
I've asked for that, I'd like to.
And you've asked for the exit
Exit,
packet, and we
yeah.
still have not
We
got that
just put it
either.
all together.
Those questions were not asked directly of me.
They've
just
been
for
asked
Colin.
right here at the table, Dr. Brown. I don't know if you have your ears open or not, but we have asked for it.
Ears stay
She's
open
asked
and
for it.
pads stay open to write down notes. I don't recall that.
Okay. Well, let it be known now. If we could get that next month, it'd be great.
It is known. Thank you.
If there are no additional questions regarding the Chief Technology Officer job description, we
And I
have,
might as well, I have a question, please. While we're onboarding with that, I'd like to get, I know we're responsible for a SIR report every year, a student incident report to the state. I would really like to see what schools, I don't wanna know names, I wanna know incidents, and that filters up to what is happening in our schools so that education, academics cannot take place. We need to see weekly, once a month, see this week happened here, this week, because these incidences are becoming critical.
And what schools they're coming from. I agree
That's
with you.
right.
thank you all. We have all those items that you've just discussed in our notes to have conversation with the central office staff. So those will be covered within the next few weeks. Thank you again. If there is no further business regarding the items on our agenda, this meeting is adjourned.
That's during the board meeting. That was work session. Work session. Look at that face.
Okay, that was the adjournment of our work session. Our regular meeting is about to begin. We have not adjourned for the evening. The regular meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Education will come to order. Good evening again, and thank you for those who have joined us since we gavelled in earlier. Please remember to mute all electronic devices. A majority of our members will constitute a quorum. There are 7 members present. I declare a quorum is present. The agenda has been posted for our review. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda by unanimous consent. The question before the board, is there objection to adopting the agenda by unanimous consent? Hearing no objection, the agenda has been adopted. March is a time for new beginnings and revivals. The Alabama legislature convened last Tuesday, and I hope that each of us will find ways to advocate for education in our districts and our state. This is indeed a month of celebrations and recognition, to name a few. Read Across America is being celebrated across the nation. Thank you to the school staffs who have invited and welcomed readers. Many volunteers have read to students in the district for Read Across America. Women's History Month is a time when we are intentional about celebrating the women's rights movement, in honoring and celebrating impactful women around the globe, and in bringing awareness to issues affecting women. We strive to create a society that is equitable in practice, not just in principle, but where women and girls are safe, empowered, and taking the lead. As we celebrate this board of women and the hundreds of women who are impeccable advocates throughout our city, we want to ensure that our schools are safe and nurturing places with a resilient foundation of support for all. This support is found throughout our education community. As such, in March, we celebrate Social Workers Awareness Month. The River Region and MPS have experienced significant need, and our social workers have been here and are here to help. These professionals are critical connections between our homes, our schools, and our community. School social workers provide direct and indirect services to our students, families, and school personnel to promote and support students' academic as well as their social successes. Let us honor their work and show our gratitude often, and let us not forget that they are here to serve. If you or someone you know is in need of their time and service, we have capable professionals ready to serve. And our education family is set for spring break. Yes, spring is a time for renewal. As we move forward into spring, let us be encouraged to reset and come back ready to finish strong. Please relax, renew, and stay safe. There are other exciting things happening around the district. At this time, I'd like for Ms. Jones to present some of the recognitions that she has, and if you don't mind, I would like to follow up with a few additional if you don't name them.
Yes, Madam President. Yes, ma'am. Well, good evening, Madam President, Dr. Brown, and board members. We're excited, Madam President, because we have a few of our social workers here tonight, and we want to give them a round of applause and thank them for everything that they do with our students. But before we bring them up, we would like to share a video that we created to honor all of our social workers and what they do in our building. So we'll go ahead and cue that up.
We found our technology person. You know, plug it in.
For us here at Highland Avenue, our vision is to make sure that we have involvement of our community, and our social workers are really an integral part of that, because they build that bridge from school to community and connecting them with those services that are really vital to making sure they're socially and emotionally able, to come to school and be successful. It's like across all of Montgomery, we have a lot of trauma, and so that trauma, acts out in different ways in our school settings. And so we just try to connect them to resources so that they learn how to to appropriately deal with that to make sure that they're successful in our school. And our social worker really plays a part in connecting those families. As social workers, we serve to remove barriers for children in our district, so we may be making community referrals, we may be responding to crisis events within the district. We are linking students to services within the community so that they have an opportunity to succeed in the school system. And we're looking to remove any barriers that they may come across so that they can succeed and reach their fullest potential within the district. We receive a wide variety of referrals. We receive referrals to link children to mental health services. We respond to crisis if there's a death within the school system, suicidal ideations, the need for uniforms, food insecurities, homeless services. We also respond if there is a question about child abuse or neglect. There's just a wide range of services that we provide. Some churches will provide backpack programs for children. They receive backpacks on Fridays that have food in them, and they bring them back on Mondays. We partner with Care Star for mental health services. They provide therapy services in the school to our students. We also work with Family Sunshine Center that provides trauma counseling to students within the school so that parents aren't having to leave their jobs to come and take children out of school to go and see a therapist. The therapist actually comes to the school to see the children, and so we partner with them to provide those services within the school. We have an amazing cohort of social workers here at NPS, and we work extremely well together. We provide incredible services, and we are able to grow and learn from one another. And so I would just hope anybody coming out of school into the field of social work has the same opportunities that I've had to learn and grow from some incredible social workers like I've had with Janice.
All righty, thank you, Madam President, for allowing us to cue that up and play it. Now we would like to honor our social workers by coming up and just briefly introducing themselves and the feeder pattern that they work in. So first, I am going to call, if she's here, Ms. Crow, Raquel Crow. Let's give her a round of applause.
Hello, my name is Raquel Crow. I'm the school-based social worker at Sidney Lanier High School. Thank you.
Board members, we are going to take a picture, so if you want to gather as they come up. Next up, Ms. Natasha Scipio. Hi, Ms. Scipio. Don't fall.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natasha Scipio. I serve the Park Crossing Zone, and it is hard to believe because I think I'm younger than I actually am. I've been in the district 17 years, and I am the first social worker hired by MPS.
Oh, wow. Do we have Ms. Sankey here tonight?
Good afternoon. My name is Shanika Sankey, and I cover Robert E. Lee High School.
Ms. Henderson?
Hello, Glenda Henderson, Capitol Heights Middle School.
And I don't believe we have Ms. Pear here tonight, but we'll hold this for her. Dr. Williamson, did you want to share a few words? Or did I miss someone? I'm sorry, come on. I'm so sorry. Ms. Fields, everyone, come on.
And I'm with McKee Middle School.
I may get Mrs. Fields a special certificate. How about that? All right. Dr. Williamson, did you want to? Did I miss someone else? Oh, my goodness. Come on up. Miss who? Miss Parker. I'm so sorry, Miss Parker. You get a.
I'm Jessica Parker, Carver High Zone.
You want to say a few words?
Madam Chair, Dr. Brown, and board members, thank you so much for this opportunity for our district and school-based social workers. This is just a portion of the team
we can get a quick photo with our board members and social workers along with Dr. Brown, that would be perfect. And while they're coming around, we're going to give you all another round of applause for what you do. And thank you so much. All right, thank you all so much. All righty, also, Madam President, if I may share one more exciting piece of news. The Equal Justice Initiative Center has partnered with MPS to award $10,000 in college scholarships to our MPS students. Now, that deserves a round of applause within itself. Now, it's important to know that EJI is committing $1 million of scholarships for graduating MPS students over the next 3 years. So this information will be placed on our website. We're so excited about this partnership and can't thank them enough. So, Madam President, I will turn it over to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
May I say something about the social workers, please?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
They're out of the room, but maybe
Well,
the
I
message
needed
will
for
get to
but
them.
We went right in. The social workers do such an incredible job for our students. We take care of them academically and physically, but sometimes they need that support that no one else can give them. With that being said, we need to let them really focus on the true deeper needs of these children, and that's why I suggest that we really dig into the PBIS plan to look at positive behavior and put it in schools, because PBIS is all over and it's very good. It helps children learn how to intrinsically support themselves and how to make better choices and chances for themselves. So I really want us to really strongly look at PBIS so that it supports the social workers so they can use their times most wisely.
I know they appreciate that support, and I know we do. Thank you again. As you have heard, we have exciting things happening around our district, and I have a list of things here that I would like for you to make sure you share. As the community decides they want to talk about what's going on at MPS, I said, let's give them something to talk about, okay? Congratulations, Booker T. Washington Magnet High School dance students, Jamad Parham and Lauren Rudolph. These two have earned spots in an intensive camp at the Ailey School in New York City. Congratulations to Booker T. Washington Magnet High broadcast media student Ethan Lane. Lane has been chosen to represent Montgomery as a national youth correspondent to the Washington Journalism and Media Conference at George Mason University in Washington, D.C. Congratulations are also in order to Lamp High School's 3 Science Olympiad teams for winning a total of 43 medals over 2 competitions. Teams A and B placed first at UAB, and Team C placed second at the University of Alabama. Lamp advances to the state competition in Auburn, April 22. Congratulations to Baldwin Arts and Academic Magnet and Forest Avenue Magnet scholars. We have an awesome team of siblings who attend Montgomery Public Schools. They have won the VEX IQ Middle School Championship for the second year in a row. The team is called Penguin Robotics and is made up of Abraham Yang of Baldwin Arts and Academics Magnet and his siblings, fifth grader Joanna Yang and third grader Elijah Yang of Forest Avenue. They are now ranked first in Alabama, 10th in the nation, and 23rd in the world. The Penguins are qualified for and will compete at the U.S. Open in March and the World Championship in May, representing Alabama. Thank you. Congratulations are in order to Forest Avenue Academic Magnet fourth grader Noah Courtner. Noah competed in the Jim Thorpe Invitational Golf Tournament in Orlando, Florida, and returned as the 9U Youth Division champion. Congratulations, Noah. Additionally, Alabama State University held its Honor Band Festival featuring students from Georgia, Florida, and all over Alabama. Every MPS high school was represented, and McKee Middle School student Errol Caraway took part as well. Additionally, the 2022-2023 grant recipients from the National PTA have some holdings here in Montgomery. Danley Elementary School PTA is one of 150 elementary schools in the county selected to receive $1,000 sponsored by Norton. Of course, my computer would go crazy. Park Crossing High School PTSA and Lanier High School PTSA are two of 38 high schools that have been selected to receive $1,000 each, sponsored by TikTok. And the Montgomery County Council is one of 10 PTAs from across the country, having been selected by the National PTA to receive $2,500 grants to work with the government and community partners to help strengthen partnerships between families and schools. We have plenty to talk about. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we are scheduled to go into executive session. Is there a motion by board members?
I move that we move into executive session.
And I second it.
I second.
The board will go into executive session to discuss pending litigation. We should be in executive session approximately 15 minutes. During executive session, no votes will be taken. The executive session has been completed. No decisions were made during this meeting. We will now reconvene the regular board meeting.
Madam President, I'd like to recommend that we approve all documentation associated with the matter discussed in the executive session.
Thank you. You have heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion?
Madam
motion-
President,
Oh, go ahead.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
I second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the decision, the matter at hand. Thank you. All in favor, raise your hands. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We are now scheduled for public comments. The rules and procedures regarding this public participation include the following items. Requests must be made in advance in writing to the superintendent's office by 4:30 p.m. on the Tuesday preceding the meeting date. Requests must have specified the nature of the business to be taken up with the board and the name of the person who will address the board to be added to the agenda. Communications must be respectful. Discussing specific student or employee matters will not be allowed. Individuals who have concerns that are inappropriate to be solved in this venue are welcome to seek a problem-solving meeting with the superintendent. Immediate feedback by the board may not be provided. However, you may be contacted for follow-up by the superintendent or his designee. Public comments may not exceed 3 minutes. The board chairman has full authority to terminate the remarks of any person whose comments contain personal attacks, exceed the time limit, or are otherwise inappropriate. A speaker may be considered disruptive who continues to speak when their allotted time has ended, when asked to stop speaking by the board chairman, or is otherwise inappropriate. If a person fails to comply when asked to terminate comments, he or she will be escorted to their seat out of the auditorium and or off of MPS property, depending on the level of disruption. At this time, we have one person designated, Mr. Joe Purnell, Hope for the Future of Our Children. Mr. Purnell.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. All right. For any child to have hope and to have success, child must have education. For a black person, unless you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, obviously aren't going to make it. And education is the differentiation between success or failure. Education does not guarantee us success, but it does guarantee us an opportunity at success. However, I've come here tonight to discuss a situation that I encountered on March the 3rd at McIntyre Comprehensive Academy. Now, the thing what I'm concerned about is the environment for these kids. An environment that I witnessed that day was dreary, was dark, and it was disdainful. I was threatened. I was profane. I got there at 7:30, and by 8:40, I was dismissed because I could not get discipline, could not get control in the classroom, and it was just outrageous. My purpose here is not to critique, but to say that what is occurring is you're creating a remnant. They're not LAMP, they're not the regular schools. These kids are sent over there, and with that many security guards, the way that place is set up, it is a quasi-prison. And you know, the old adage about contempt breeds familiarity. These kids are becoming too familiar was being closed in. There's no hope. There's no, what you might say, hope for their future. Because I didn't see education. The lesson plans that I was given encountered they could play Connect 4. That was my lesson plan. They were not to go out of the classroom, and they could only go to the bathroom twice. What I'm saying here is that what I saw that day, maybe it was just one day, but I was not satisfied. I was appalled. And I would just think that you need to take a second look at that, or third, or whatever look, and just do some enhancing there. Because, see, when those kids leave the school from where they are originally, when they go back, from what I understand, most of their behavior is worse. It is not an improvement. I had a son to go to alternative school. It took me 3 weeks to get his work transferred back to Carver. The point that I'm making here is that if there's going to be hope for our children in that situation, it should be an extension of the school and the curriculum from whence they came from. It should not be just locked down and just sit down and be quiet, listen to rap music, profane each other, use the N-word, degrade each other, and that's it. And because I was trying to get control, I was dismissed. None of the issues that I addressed was dealt with, and I was made to feel as if I was the culprit. That needs to be revisited. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam President. Mr. Purnell, did I pronounce it right? Yes. I want to thank you, because if we don't get a hold of the discipline problems that we have, and we have them, we have video after video after video from I don't know how many schools, and it's about time somebody like you stood up. I will apologize. I want to apologize to the teachers that get in trouble. We have teachers that I hear this same story over and over and over. And when you're leaving Connect 4, I mean, this is the problem with Montgomery Public School System. We are not supporting our teachers. And thank God you as a substitute, because I heard your story. I heard your story up here. And I pray to God that these people and our superintendent heard you. I heard you loud and clear.
May I say something? Mr. Purnell, would you stand and tell us your credentials, what you have done, that you're just not subbing?
First of all, this school system produced in 66. I was among those freedom of choice kids who went to the meeting. When we got off the bus, we had to fight our way to the end. The teacher superintendent, A.J. Tadell, was the one who welcomed us there. Graduated from Alabama State University, spent 3 years in the Marines. I spent a total of 26 and a half years in the military, Marines and Army. Did Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Graduated from law school with the
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Purnell.
you.
Thank you for telling us your background, and we hope that you continue to sub for us because you are a jewel, and we thank you.
At this time, we have reached our consent agenda. Superintendent, Dr. Brown.
I'd like to recommend approval of the consent agenda as listed.
Can we, can we move, can we, wait a minute, can we take off and vote, I know we've already taken off or moved or tabled the finance on I, can we not vote on J separately?
It has been requested that we vote on J separately.
I motion that we vote on J separately.
I second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we remove J and vote on it separately. So at this time, we are looking at, I'm sorry, I don't think the other motion went through. So we're looking at a consent agenda, items A through H, and then K and L.
A through I.
No,
The
we're gonna
finance
promote-
department position adjustment.
Remove that.
Oh, that's
We
not
moved
Was-
that.
correct.
So
Do we have someone to make that motion?
I make the motion that we vote on the consent agenda A through H and K and I
K and L.
and
K and L.
K and L and reserve I and J for another time.
No.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
separate.
right.
Okay, we're gonna
Be
vote on it
separate.
separately. Well, that would be another
Thank you.
time.
You have heard the motion to vote consent agenda items A through H, K through L.
I second it.
It has been moved and seconded. It's time for the vote. I'm sorry, is there discussion? No discussion? All those in favor, raise your hands. That's 6 to 1.
That's 6 all.
I think it's all
That's
second.
unanimous.
That was
You wanna
everybody.
ask us to vote again, Eraser? Did you vote for it?
Yes.
Okay, that's, okay. I didn't see your hand.
You got me,
Okay.
Miss Liz?
6 to 1. It passes. Superintendent Brown.
To recommend to the board for approval, the chief technology officer job description.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the chief technology officer job description. Is there discussion?
I thought he was gonna give us a comparison. We were gonna set it aside until he gave us a comparison to, okay.
No, we're going to take the vote,
Okay.
and we will get that information. Okay, I'm sorry, it has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation. All those in favor, raise your hands. Five. All those opposed? 2. It passes. Okay, we are ready to consider for approval the personnel report certified.
Madam President, I recommend the approval of personnel report certified personnel.
You have heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion for adoption?
I move to approve the personnel report, certified personnel.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the personnel report, certified personnel. Is there discussion?
Yes. I think, I looked at the certified report, we had 27 resignations. We had 15 retirements. Retirements, I'm not questioning. Resignations, I am. I know, Pam Portis, had brought up exit slips, and we have yet to see that. This is vital to us knowing why they're leaving. It really is. It's something that I think, you know, we can talk the talk, but if we're not walking the walk, we're never gonna solve some of the problems. We've got a shortage of teachers right now. We're doing everything in our power to gain teachers with the new tuition assistance program that we're doing, but it would be, to me, vital to know why these people are leaving. You know, even if we come up with a survey, something that we know why they're leaving.
Especially with a 39% emergency certificate.
Right. When you have 39% they're not certified out there, you know, it's just something that is vital.
And if I may add to that, Madam Chair, we were at the AASB conference, which is where that came up a lot. And there was a very innovative principal in Lawrence County that grew his own, and he offered some innovative ideas. But one of the things that they brought to everyone's attention is, as you have people, whether they're emergency, provisional, conditional, whatever else is out there, that there be some checkpoints in the process to see where those people who are getting those getting certified have that in place, so that if they need support or guidance, they can receive that, so that they can complete the program. So I just wanted to add that to what you were talking about.
I'd like to add to that. I wasn't at that AASB, but we have too many, you know, and I haven't talked to Kim on this lately, but we have too many that say they're coming on for those 3 years, and they wait. And we've got one at South right now, and there's just no reason for them to get that far into the contract with us. And if we did checkpoints, you know.
Well, that's what your onboarding is for.
Exactly.
Because these principals, these board members, they were so knowledgeable about every step of the way. We can't make them do, but we can know when they're not going to do. Mm-hmm. If we're board members, we're one of the voices. We're recruiters for our own system. But we can't recruit if we don't know what's going on along the way. So if we can support human resources in any form or fashion and getting that out there and getting that to people, to be at the job fairs and say, hey, you know, you're safe, come work with us. Because young people want to be safe. They don't buy they're not like us. They won't struggle.
Right. And
I got a 30-year-old that won't.
If there's something we can do with policy, I mean, we make policy.
Right. That's
Why
right.
shouldn't there be a policy that at the end of year 1, you have to have this completed, year 2, you have to have this? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but we're getting kicked in the teeth if we're waiting three years.
And these don't have to be rhetorical questions. Would you like to speak to any of it, or let us move forward?
Again, no disagreement from me. We'll have plans in place to actually conduct exit interviews. Ms. Gillis, if you'd like to add anything, you please feel free to do so.
Yeah, can we see?
We'll send those out.
You may send them out, but how many do you get back? Because we need to know why they're leaving, why they're
We need to see them.
I never got one. That's right, yeah.
But Kim, we want to know. What's happening to some of us board members is you're getting them to call us, okay, and tell us. They're telling us. Well, granted, you're going to have people that are ticked or some personality conflicts. I get it, but when you're having the same school, same place, same schools. I'm gonna say schools before somebody already thinks, okay, you're attacking somebody. I'm not. Okay, somewhere we need to look into this because it's not coincidence.
I'll say this.
And you know, we get,
Are you getting from those? Are they participating in them? Well, for them to continue on, that it must, it's not a will but a must, because they're under emergencies, we're helping them, so there's some responsibility on their part too.
but there's a form that goes back to the state that says if a person is at this point, what is the system going to do to get them to the next point? That goes to the state at every step. So I hear us saying we're doing all this stuff. One of the things Dr. Brown said when he got here, we're gonna have to prepare to be uncomfortable. Something's not working. So we need to collectively go back, let's look at it, let's be calm, let's have some snacks, let's figure it out, and get these folks a job. You know, teaching has changed from a profession to an occupation because we have not protected it. I told one teacher, I said, don't come to me anymore because you don't dress professional. Now, when you do your side, I'll do mine. So when you get that right, come back to me. And I'm serious about that. We have to look at it from all sides and really be honest. There are some young people out here that need good leadership. They're going to be excellent teachers with the right people for them. And that's all we have to do. We have to be patient. We're not going to solve this week, but we will when we're all on one accord. We're not attacking anybody. We're putting professional minds, you in your right mind? You put professional minds together, and we're gonna find a solution for it. We will.
Thank you.
But clarification, are we, you know, we have asked for them, are we gonna get something? Like, I mean,
Yeah, she's gonna send it.
we're at, that's why I'm going, I'm making sure this meeting, that every next meeting, because I mean, this meeting I wanted to talk more in executive, and I'm told, nope, we gotta go by the, well, we're gonna go by the rules. But we were going, at least Keith's gonna make sure we go by the rules. And that's why, because I put down dates, I'm looking for that April 1st thing, okay? If it's not here April 1st, I'm fixing to start asking on everything, because I'm tired of waiting 4 months. So am I going to get, I'm not mad at you. I just know right now with this, all this new crap that's going on here, it's not crap, I wanna know, I'm tired of waiting. I want to get to I want to know who makes up the agendas. I want to know why I'm asked, oh, what do you want on the agenda? And then I don't see it. I mean, I just want to know. I'm ready. I feel like I'm watching paint dry. I want to wet it up a little bit. Okay? Okay.
Well, he said he didn't.
Okay, well, I hope he's heard me tonight loud and clear.
We have heard loud and clear.
Okay.
Is there additional discussion? Is there additional discussion? Okay, we will take a vote. All those in favor of approving the certified personnel report, raise your hand. Unanimous? Unanimous.
Madam President, I'd like to recommend for approval the personnel report, classified personnel.
Go ahead.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation.
I second.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for approving the personnel report, classified personnel. Is there discussion? Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll take the vote. All those in favor of approval, raise your hands. It's unanimous. That completes all action items. Our next work session is April the 11th, 2023, 5 o'clock, Central Office. Our regular meeting is scheduled April the 11th, immediately following the work session. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.